afternoon, and welcome back. This is Math with Business Applications. We are doing Unit 4, Percentages and Managing Merchandise. Today we're going to take a look at 4 new topics: the terms of sale, the cash discounts, partial payments, and ordinary dating. This is, again, a part of Chapter 7, Section 4, and we have 4 new things to talk about. Our goals for this particular presentation are as follows. We need to define what a cash discount is, explain its importance, and determine if a payment is eligible for a cash discount. Then we need to calculate that cash discount and figure out the net due, including it. We have to take a look at partial payment. Can you define it? Can you determine if a partial payment is even appropriate in this situation? Then you would need to calculate that partial payment, and we're going to be doing partial payments of either 1 or 2 separate amounts, which means we need to be able to calculate the net due based on 1 partial payment or 2. This means we need to be familiar with terms of sale, what the terms of sale are. We need to be able to find the date for discounts and the date of when a net invoice would be due. Lastly, we're going to examine some of our dating methods, specifically I should mention we don't mean like Tinder dating. We mean like days of the year and due dates. So we're going to look specifically at what's known as the ordinary or regular dating method today. And in tomorrow's presentation or the next presentation, we're going to look at the specialty dating methods such as EOM, ROG, and Extra. Although we will learn about those a little bit today. So some of the newer vocabulary for us, some terms to know. The first is the terms of sale. This is information that specifically states when an invoice must be paid, whether or not you receive a discount, and how many days you have to obtain that discount. The second piece of information is what a cash discount is. A cash discount is an extra discount that's offered at time of payment. The discount is offered by the seller to the purchaser in order to encourage or incentivize early payment of the bill. What do we mean by early payment? Well, every bill or invoice has what's known as a credit period. Some of them have a discount period. The credit period is the grace period between the time the bill is opened or sent and the payment. Customarily, this credit period or grace period is 30 days. In some industries, it becomes longer, either because the manufacturing takes longer or the shipping takes longer than 30 days. The discounted period is the number of days that you have for early payment and receiving of the cash discount. Lastly, we have the idea of a net date or a due date. This is the date that final payment is due. It is the last day of the credit period or grace period. In most cases, payment after this date incurs some sort of penalty, whether that be a percentage of the overall bill or a straight late fee. We will be doing some examples with penalties today or tomorrow or next presentation. I forget. But we will bring it up in practice, but I will not test on late penalties. Now, why are cash payments such a big deal? Cash discounts have 2 main benefits. The buyer benefits from a reduced cost. If you tell me I can get an extra 2% off, man, I'm going for it. What do I need to do? The second thing that happens is the sellers benefit from a quick payment. The bill is not hanging out there. You know when somebody owes you $20 and you just don't want to wait 3 months to get it? That kind of thing. The seller themselves benefits from bringing in their money faster. So what about the buyer's reduced cost? Well, generally, the cash discounts are in increments of 1 to 5%. So they're not huge discounts. They are minor discounts, 1% of the bill, 5 to 5% of the bill. However, there are often multiple opportunities for this discount. So if you have a standing invoice with a seller and it's a 3% discount and you purchase from them every month, then you have several opportunities to save money. And over the course of a year, those savings can be very large. This puts more money into your pocket and allows you to have larger profit margins. Capitalism. All right, the sellers, on the other hand, have an improved cash flow because they're not waiting weeks for their money to come in. And as an added benefit, they can often become first choice for a business. If I am a business that orders its pizza dough from 3 different places, I might look to the one place that offers me a cash discount to order from first, because over the course of a year, I might be able to experience multiple opportunities to save, putting more money into my pocket and actually saving more money than someone who did not offer a cash discount. Where are your cash discounts listed? Cash discounts are listed on the invoice in the terms of sale. Now, I'll be honest. The terms of sale look like a date, like the way we write a date. So here's an example of a terms of sale. This is what they look like. The 2/10, N/30. So what does it mean? Each one of these 4 parts, the 2, the 10, the N, the 30, have a very specific meaning based on their placement. The first number, the 2, in this case, the 2 indicates the amount of the cash discount. So this is a 2% cash discount if paid in the first 10 days of the grace period. So the 2 and the 10 indicate the amount of the discount and how long you have to pay it. The N always accounts for when the net is due. So it's N/30. This tells us that the net amount is due in 30 days. So what I have from this piece of information is that my grace period for the bill is 30 days. I have a credit period of 30 days. So in the first 10 days of that grace period, I can receive a discount of 2% if I pay my bill. Don't necessarily have to pay it in full, but any payment made in that first 10 days is at a 2% discount. That's between the invoice date and what's known as the discount date. That's the last day of the discount. Now, the remaining time, which, by the way, is 30 minus 10 or 20 days, the discount is no longer available, but I'm still in the grace period. I still am not going to receive a penalty. I can still pay my bill without the incentive to pay early and without any penalty. This goes from the discount date to what's known as the net date. I should mention that the 3 numbers in the terms of sale, the 2%, the 10 days for that discount period, and the 30 days for the entire discount or the entire payment period, grace period, credit period, the entire credit period. Sorry, lost myself there for a minute. The 30 days of the credit period, those 3 numbers are all determined by the seller, but they might be negotiable. These numbers can change. So if the seller says you have 5 days for the discount, you could, as the buyer, go in and say, well, can I get 7? And maybe that makes a difference. Maybe they tell you they have 30 days to pay, but you would like to have 40. These numbers will change as we go through examples. Just a little FYI. Okay. So From section 7.9 in your text, let's try one. All City Plumbing ordered sinks with a net price of $13,500. Terms of sale are $310 and $45. Find the amount of the cash discount. What is the net amount due if the bill is paid in full by the 10th day? So let's look at our terms of sale. Terms of sale are $310 and $45. What does that mean? That's a 3% discount if you're able to pay in the first 10 days, but the net amount is due in 45 days. So to find the amount of the cash discount, we are going to take the net price, the $13,500, and multiply it by the discount rate in order to get the amount of the cash discount, the dollar amount. So that's going to be $13,500 times 0.03, which is $405. This is our cash discount amount. We're saving $405 if we can pay in the first 10 days. Now, what will the net amount end up being? Well, I'm getting $405 off. So the easiest way to do this is what's known as a subtraction method. I'm going to take the $13,500 and subtract off $405. This leaves us with $13,095 left to pay. Now, this is math. There's more than one way to do this. The second method uses our complement, a lot like the net price factor. So the complement method says if I have a 3% discount, then there is 97% left to pay. So I'm going to take the $13,500 and multiply that by 0.97. This also gives me $13,095. Now, the great part of this is either way will get you to your answer. And there are actually instances where the second method makes more sense. It might make more sense to consistently multiply your net price by 0.97 in an Excel spreadsheet. You can put in the 0.97 and it's just going to remain constant for the rest of your businesses rather than always multiplying by 0.3 and subtracting. It depends upon what you need in your business, which is why I'm showing both methods. Now, there may be times when you can't pay all the money by the discount date. In those cases, you receive what's known as a partial payment credit. A partial payment credit occurs if a buyer can pay part of the balance by the discount date. Then they receive a partial cash credit on the net due. How do we calculate this? It's actually a little bit more complicated than you think. We find the complement of that discounted rate and we divide the payment by it. That gives us what's known as a partial payment credit. This partial payment credit will always be more than the partial payment itself. There is a formula. The formula for the partial payment credit is directly below here. It says the partial payment credit, sometimes abbreviated PPC, is equal to the amount of the partial payment divided by 100% minus the cash discount percent. We will put those in as decimals. So once you know what the percent is, you will need to convert it to decimals. Okay? Now, here we have an explanation of that partial payment credit. So say you are offered terms of sale of $210 and $30 on a bill of $80,000. I'm going to give you a minute. $210 and $30 means what? That is a 2% discount if paid in the first 10 days. The net amount is due in 30 days. You don't have $80,000. You would like to take advantage of the cash discount, but you don't have $30,000. You have a partial payment of $50,000. So how does this work? Well, we can figure out the formula. That's fine. We got the formula. We'll get that. This is a little bit longer explanation of that formula. So here's what happens. During your discount period, you only need 98 cents That's 2% off, or 2 cents off of $1. So 98 cents will pay off $1 of debt. So if you pay in 98 cents, your debt would go down to $79,999. That means there's 2% or 2 cents out of that dollar that you can put in a piggy bank. You can save it. You'll need 98 cents to pay off the next dollar for $79,998. And that 2% or 2 cents goes into the piggy bank. The same for the next $4. So here I've put in $6. The debt is now $79,994. And I have 6 different 2-cent increments in my piggy bank. Piggy bank happy, he's got 12 cents in there. You've done this for $50,000. You've put $50,000 onto this debt. That means that your debt is now $50,000 less, or $30,000. Now, you've also got 50,000 2-centers in Mr. Piggy Bank. So in Mr. Piggy Bank, you have $1,000 that has not been used. So we can take that $1,000 and we can put it towards that debt again. So now we've paid off $51,000. Our debt left is $29,000. But we have, remember, it only takes 98 cents to pay off $1. So we have 1,000 2-centers and change, which gives us another 20 bucks. I've still got 20 bucks. I can take that 20 bucks that's left over and I can put that towards the debt. So now my debt is reduced by another 20 bucks. I've only actually used 50,000 actual dollars, but I've gotten credit for $51,020 so far. Now that $20, I've got 2 cents left over for each one of them. So that gives me 40 cents, and I can put 40 cents towards my debt. So that $50,000 I started out with is actually $51,020.40 worth of credit, because those leftover 2 centers I can keep recycling back into my debt, because 98 cents pays off $1. This is why it's not as easy as simple multiplication. Instead, if 98 cents pays off $1, you can calculate how many times 98 cents goes into that partial payment, whatever it is. That will be our credit. So this is why our formula is division. We need to figure out, if 98 cents in this case pays off $1, how many 98 cents will go into $50,000, or $51,020.40. Again, $51,020.40. It's a division problem for a partial payment credit, not a multiplication problem. All right, so problem. All Pro Sports purchases $45,300 in baseball gloves from Spalding on May 5th. Spalding terms of sale are $415 and $45. All Pro Sports will send a partial payment of $25,000 during the discount period. How much credit is given for this partial payment, and what is the net amount due on the order? So the partial payment credit, how much credit is given for this, the partial payment credit is what we're trying to find. Couple of things. There is a crap ton of information in this particular problem, so let's make sure we can compartmentalize it. All Pro Sports purchases $45,300 in baseball gloves from Spalding. That's our net price. That's our invoice charge on May 5th. That's our invoice date. That is our starting date for things. Spalding's terms of sale are $415 and $45. So we've got $415 and $45. Take a minute so you're sure what that means. That's a 4% discount if they pay in the first 15 days. The net amount is due in 45 days. All Pro Sports sends a partial payment of $25,000 during the discounted period. How much credit is given for the partial payment? We just saw that there is a formula for the partial payment credit, and that this formula is the payment amount divided by 100%, that's 1 as a decimal, minus the cash discount rate, that's the discount percent as a decimal. So, do we know the payment amount? The payment amount is $25,000. The partial payment credit will be more than that. The partial payment credit is always more than the partial payment amount. How much more is determined by division, not multiplication. So I need to find the cash discount. Well, the cash discount is in the terms of sale. Terms of sale are $4.15. That's a 4% discount if you pay in the first 15 days. The net amount is due in 45. So if I plug these numbers in, my payment is 25. My discount is 4% or 0.04. So my partial payment credit can be found if I take 25,000 and divide it by the complement of that 4%, or 25,000 divided by 0.96. I'll need a calculator. It's not division I can do in my head, but if I type that into the calculator, we should get $26,041.67. That credit then, the partial payment credit, is $26,041.67. So how much is due on the order? Well, it was $45,300. So if I just take away the $26,041.67, I have $19,258.33 left to pay. And that is my net due. All right. So now we got to talk about dating. There are 3 different sort of tools that you can use to do these dating methods. The first is the days of the year table or the dating chart. There is a link to this table or chart in your Blackboard course shell. If you go to assignments and week 8, I think it will pop up. I believe it's the first thing in that particular assignments folder. You can either bookmark it or print it off, whatever you want to do. And you have full access to this dating chart during the test. You are welcome to have it bookmarked or available and printed out for you. Not everyone uses the days in the year chart. Some people prefer to use their knuckles. If you know the knuckles, it is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And you can use that 31 days on the up knuckles, less than 31 days in the spaces between the knuckles. And then the third method is some people use the rhyme from grade school, which is 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February. It's the one which only has 28 days clear and 29 in a leap year. So whichever one of those. Everything I'm going to go through today is going to use the days in the year chart, simply because I find it the most efficient method, or the most resourceful one. But some of you may find that if you practice, you can do it without the dating chart. I can do it without the dating chart, but I'm going to show you with. All right. So there are 4 different dating methods. We're going to go through what those 4 are, but we're only going to practice ordinary today. So those 4 dating methods are as follows. The first is known as the ordinary dating method. The ordinary dating method, you add the number of days in the discount period to the invoice date in order to get the discount date, and you add the number of days to the net date in order to get the net date. This is just addition. Everything is based on the invoice date. Does it say May 5th? Then we're always going to start with May 5th. That's where we're going to begin our count. It's called ordinary because it is the most used and the one that most people are familiar with. There are 3 others. I'm going to give you what those are right now, but we are not going to be practicing them in this presentation. We will practice them in the next presentation. So of the 3 special dating methods, the first one is EOM, or end of month. In this particular method, you don't start counting the due date or the discount date until the end of the month. And if you happen to get a bill in the last week or so after the 25th. So if you get a bill on the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, or 31st, they essentially give you an extra month. So you get all the next month. The net is always due 20 days from the discount date. So the net here is not based on the invoice. We essentially just use the invoice to determine whether we get 1 month or 2. And if the date is prior to the 26th, you get 1 extra month. And if the date is after the 25th, you get 2 extra months. And then it's just however many days into the month following. The net is always 20 days from the discount date. ROG stands for receipt of goods. In the ROG dating method, everything depends upon when the goods are received. This is used for long shipping terms and long manufacturing terms. Everything is based on when you received the goods. Your discount is however many days since the goods were received. The net date is always 20 days from the discount date. So there's always 20 days between the net and the discount. Lastly, we have extra. Extra dating, I think it's a little bit of a gimmick, but it is used on occasion. You basically just offer extra days for payment. You list the terms of sale and then you say, but I'm going to give you an extra 40 days. So the seller offers extra days for payment. This usually happens if merchandise is particularly slow off the inventory, if it's out of season, if it's really early before season. In other words, think about you're trying to sell Halloween candy on November 4th. You might offer extra payment. Or if you're trying to sell Halloween candy, let's say in April, you might offer extra time for payment because it doesn't matter. You're not going to ship it to them yet. So there's all of that. In the extra method as well, however many days, it's always 20 days from the discount date. However many days you have for the discount is great, but then you only have 20 days to finish off and pay the net price. So the final payment is always 20 days after the discount date. Okay? All right. We're only going to be doing the pink one. We're only doing ordinary for the rest of this presentation. Okay. All right. So we're going to practice some ordinary dating methods. In order to do those, we will need the dating chart. So our invoice date, remember, for ordinary dating, it's all based on the invoice date. In this case, in the first problem, first practice, our invoice date is August 11th. So I'm going to go to my dating chart and I'm going to find August 11th. August 11th, I'm going to go down the August column. I'm going to find 11 and go across to August 11th. This is day of the year 223. It is the 223rd day of the year. My terms of sale, I'm writing that down. I put that down, 223. My terms of sale are 320 and 45. And again, let's make sure you know what that means. 320 and 45 means they receive a 3% discount if they pay in the first 20 days. The net amount is due in 45. So I don't care about the discount right now. I'm finding the date. 3% discount if they pay in the first 20 days. So I need 20 days from August 11th. 20 days from August 11th. If you know that because of your knuckles or because of the rhyme or because you think you can figure it out, great. go for it. I'm going to use the dating chart, meaning I'm going to take 223 and I'm going to add 20 days to it. That tells me I need day 243. So on the dating chart, I'm going to find day 243. Then I'm going to look up the column and I'm going to look over to the row. And that's going to tell me this is August 31st, sorry. So I know that the discount date is August 31st. Could I have gotten that number by adding 20 to 11 to get August 31st? Yeah, that works. That's fine. You like that method? Good, go for it. It's not 100% reliable, especially if you don't know your little rhyme or your knuckle trick, but just this is another option. All right, the net date. The net date is N45. So that's 45 days from August 11th. Remember, it's ordinary, so everything goes back to the invoice. So 45 days from August 11th. So I'm going to take that 223 and I'm going to add 45 to it. That gives me day 268. Day 268 I find on my dating calendar. And that's going to give me, going up column, I get September. Going across, I get 25th. So this gives me September 25th. Right? Moving on to the next one to keep practicing. For July 8th, I look at my dating chart and I find in the column July, in the row 8, I have day 189. So July 8th is 189. My terms of sale are 425 and 90, which means I get a 4% discount if paid in the first 25 days. The net amount is due in 90 days. So I need 25 days from day 189, July 8th. So I do 189 plus 25. That's 214. On my table, I look up day 214 and I go up column to find August and across the row to find second. So I know this is August 2nd. Now, just to model how I would do it without the table. Without the table, I would do July 8th plus 25 is July 33rd. July 33rd does not exist. There are 31 days in July. So if I take 2 away from 33, I have 2, and I'm in the next month, which is August. And so I have August 2nd. That's how I do it without the table. All right, how would I find the net date? Well, using the table, I would do 189 plus 90 days because the net is due in 90, and that's going to give me 279. So I'm going to find 279 in the table. I'm going to go up the column to find the month, and I'm going to go across the row, up the column to find the month, across the row to find the date. This is October 6th. Can I do this mentally? Yes. I would do July 8th plus 90 days is July 98th. July 98th does not exist. There are 31 days in July, so that would give me August 67th. August 67th does not exist. There are 31 days in August. So that would bring me to September 36th. September 36th does not exist. September has 30 days. So 36 minus 30 is 6. So that brings me to October 6th. That's how I do it without the table. But the table's way faster if you get it. All right. So January 5th. January 5th is the January column, the 5th day in the row, which is day 5. So January 5th is day 5. Terms of sale are 2, 15, and 30, which means there's a 2% discount if paid in the first 15 days. The net amount is due in 30. So I'm going to take January 5th and I'm going to add 15 days to it. This gets me to January 20th. Can I do that one without using the table? Yes. Can you? I hope so. But if not, it's okay. You got the table. This is January 20th. The net date is 30 days from the 5th day of the year. This would be the 35th day of the year. So on the table, I find 35, then I go up the column to find the month and across to find the row, and I see that this is February 4th. October 26th, with terms of sale 3, 8, and 60. We are just practicing the dates. So October 26th, if I look that up, I find October, and then I go across the 26th date, and I see that that is day 299 of the year. So I make mark of 229. Terms of sale are 3, 8, and 60, which means I get a 3% discount if I pay in the first 8 days. The net amount is due in 60 days. So I'm going to take 299, and to find the discount date, I'm going to add 8 to it. This gives me day 307. On my dating chart or days of the year chart, I'm going to find day 307, and I'm going to go up the column to find the month and across the row to find the date. This leads me to November 3rd. In order to find the net date or final due date, I'm going to take October 26th, day 299, and I'm going to add 60 more days to it. I have 60 days to pay the bill. This gives me day 359, which I believe is being blocked by my face, but it's in December. So if I go up column, I get December, and if I go across the row, I get 25th. And you notice it's due on Christmas Day. That doesn't mean anything. For our purposes, we're still going to say it's December the 25th. We're not going to like hem and haw about, oh, but that's a holiday. We're ignoring that. That is not the point here right now. The point is just to practice and make sure we can come up with the right dates. Okay? All right, the last invoice date is December 22nd. That's my birthday. That's why it says December the 22nd. Terms of sale are 5, 15, and 30. Meaning I get a 5% discount if we pay in the first 15 days, and our net amount is due in 30 days. So we're going to find December the 22nd on this table, and that is day 356. I'm going to add 15 days to it for the discount date, and I get day 371. 371. Day 371. Some years it feels like there are 371 days in a year. Maybe this year. But there are not. There are only 365 days in a year. So when I have 371, I actually need to subtract the 365 days in a year to figure out that we're actually starting over and we're back at the 6th day. And the 6th day of the year is January 6th. Likewise, to do the net date, I need to add 30 days to December the 22nd. If I do that, I have day 386. There are not 386 days in a year. So I subtract all 365 to get back to the beginning, and I get January 21st, the 21st day of the year, or January 21st. All right, dating methods, ordinary, man, oh man. Okay, I think I got a couple of problems to practice. All right, these are combining all of the skills from 7.9 through 7.11. So here we go. Stereo World invoice from February 15th. That's our invoice date. That's important. Shows an order, not and order. Shows an order of $14,580 worth of electronics. That $14,580 is our net price. They are given a trade discount of $15, $25, $10, and a cash discount of $2, $10, and $30. The trade discount is a series discount from last time. Series discount is from 7.3. So I'm pulling in information from 7.3 and I'm putting it, or 7, not 7.3, chapter 7, section 3. I'm pulling in information from previous presentations. That's fine. We can do that. We had trade discount of 15, 25, 10, and a cash discount of 2, 10, and 30. Determine the net date. Okay. Thank God they asked me that first. What is the net date? Well, the net date is the n/30. So the net is due in 30 days. 30 days from when? From the February 15th. So the net is due 30 days from February 15th. So if I take February 15th and I add 30 days to it, I can look at February 15th on the table and I see that that's day 46. I then add 30 days to get day 76. I find 76 on the table of days and I get that that's March 17th. That is one way to do it. The other way to go is to say February 15 plus 30 would be February 45th. That's how I do it. February 45th does not exist. There are 28 days in February. So 45 minus 28 is 17. And I'm no longer in February, I'm now in March. So I'm at March 17th. That's the way I do it in my head. Okay, what is the net amount if they pay by the net date? All right, this is twofold. I've got to take off the trade discount, and then I've got to take out the cash discount. The trade discount comes first. So I need the net price, which is going to be the list times the net price factor. I got to calculate that in. So the net price factor, which is what we did before, is the complement of 15%, that's 0.85, times the complement of 25%, that's 0.75, times the complement of 10%, that's 0.9. If I multiply all of those together, I get 0.57375. That is my net price factor. So my net price is going to be $14,580 times 0.57375, which is $8,365.25. So that's going to be the net price, but it's not the net amount, because if they pay, oh yeah, that's the net amount. If they pay by the net date, okay. So we're only paying by March 17th. They owe $8,365.28. So what if they can get the discount? If they can get the discount, that's 10 days from February 15th. Why 10 days? Because my terms of sale are 210 and 30. Terms of sale are 210 and 30. That's a 2% discount if they pay in the first 10 days. So if I take February 15th and I add 10 days, that's going to be February 25th. You can do that one without the table, maybe. I don't know. All right. The cash discount, remember, is 2% off. That means that remaining to pay, they have the complement of 2% or 98%. So with the cash discount, they have to pay 98% of the $8,365.28, or $8,197.97. All right. Second example. All Beef purchases $108,000 worth of ground beef from Reinhart Foods on October the 5th. Reinhart's terms of sale are 110 and 30. All Beef will send a payment of $45,000 on October the 2nd. How much credit is given for the partial payment? Well, they're sending the payment on October 7th. They had 10 days for the discount. I know this because terms of sale are 110. That's a 1% discount if they pay in the first 10 days. So they're paying between October 5th and October 7th. That's only 2 days. They had 10. So if they're sending the payment, they're going to get a partial payment credit. That partial payment credit is the partial payment divided by the complement of the cash discount. Since it's a 1% cash discount, we're going to do 45,000 divided by 1 minus 0.01. That's the 1%. Or 45,000 divided by 0.99. This is 45, 4.5, or $45,454.55. What is the net amount and when will it be due? The net due would be the 108 minus the $45,454.55. So our net due is the $62,545.45. When is it due? The net date is 30 days from October the 5th. Always the invoice. When we're doing ordinary, it's always the invoice. So 30 days from October the 5th, excuse me, would be October the 35th. Doesn't exist. Subtract 31 days from October, and we're left with a net due date of November the 4th. Okay? So those last two examples synthesized a lot of information. They put a lot of different pieces together. But in the end, do you feel confident that you can tell me what a cash discount is? Can you give me a couple of reasons as to why it is important? Do you know how to determine if a payment is eligible for a cash discount? Can you calculate it? And can you calculate the net due if one is included? Can you define the partial payment credit? Do you know when it is appropriate to use it? Can you calculate how much it will be? And can you do a net? Can you calculate the net due using one or two of those partial payment credits? Can you examine terms of sale? Can you list out in words what the terms of sale is? Can you find the discount date of an invoice? How about the net date? And when it comes time for dating methods, do you feel comfortable with ordinary dating? Do you feel like you could do that type of problem? Do you know where to find the information on end of month, ROG, and extra? Do you know where that is in this particular file? In your e-text, Chapter 7, Section 4, the review exercises that go along with this presentation are 1 through 14 and 24 through 26. That extra practice, if you have a physical textbook, is on pages 218 to 221. The graded assignment covering this material is Chapter 7, Section 4, Ordinary Dating. It is available on WebAssign. As always, feel free to reach out to your instructor, your embedded math support, the Math Center, and any tutors that are available to you. Thank you.